Alright, so in this video we're going to take a look at operators. So operators are symbols that we can use in expressions to do certain things. And there's a few different categories of operators. The first one I want to look at is arithmetic. So let's say 1, and let's say arithmetic operators. Alright, so these are going to be pretty simple. Obviously you guys know addition and subtraction and all that. But I'm just going to initialize a variable just to output. So I'll say let x, and then down here we'll say just console log x. And let's say x equals, and we'll just do 5 and say 5 plus 5. So this is obviously the arithmetic, the addition operator. If I save that, of course we get 10. Copy that down. Let's do minus, we get 0. Let's do, copy that down again, and we'll do multiplication. That gives us 25, and then we'll do division. That gives us 1. Now, in addition to those, the basic 4, we also have the modulus operator. So if I say, well, if I do 5 and then the modulus, which is the percent sign, and 5, that's going to give me 0 because 5 goes into 5 once with no remainder. So what this does is it gives us the remainder. If I were to do 7, we know 5 goes into 7 once. If I save that, you'll see we get 2 as the remainder. So this can come in handy for different things. Now, the next thing I want to show you is concatenation. I think you spell it concatenation. So the concatenate operator is the plus sign. So you can essentially think of the plus sign having two different functions in JavaScript. One obviously is addition, but one is to concatenate strings together. So if I use the plus sign with two strings, well, let's say x equals, so I'll say hello, which is a string, and then plus, and then another string of world. If I save that, what it does is it just concatenates or puts the two together. All right, now if I wanted a space in between, I could either put a space here, that works, or you might do another, you might concatenate again, just a set of quotes with a space. But if I want to go back to another string, then I would add another plus sign here. So that's concatenation. I came to JavaScript from PHP, like I learned PHP first. And in PHP, the period is the concatenate operator. So this does the same thing that the period does in PHP. So the next one is the exponent operator, which is a double asterisk. So let's say x equals, and what we're saying here is we want to get the result of the first operand to the power of the second. So we'll say 2 double asterisk 3, and that gives us 8. All right, so that's exponent. Then we have increment. So increment, there's a couple ways that we can increment a number. So let's say we have x, let's set it to 3. Actually, we'll set it to 1. And then let's say I want to increment it by 1. I could do x equals x plus 1. If I do that, we get 2. Or I could use the increment operator, which is double plus sign. If I save that, I also get 2. And of course, we can also do decrement. So right now, x is 2. So let's say x equals x minus 1. So that's one way that we could subtract 1. Or we can just do x minus minus, and that also gives us 1. So those are all the basic arithmetic operators. Now we're going to look at assignment operators. So the first is just a value assignment, which is very simple. We've been doing that all along. So we can just say x equals 10. That's just assigning a value. Now we also have addition, multiplication, subtraction, basically all the stuff we did up here. We can use those as assignment operators. So what I mean is I can say x and then plus equals, let's say 5. And if I save that, we get 15 because x was 10, but then this is the same as, it's the same as doing this. X equals whatever x is plus 5. And in fact, if we did 1, that's the same thing we did up here to increment, right? Same thing as this as well. And then we can also use other, we can say like minus equals, that gives us 10, because remember it was 15, but then we took 5 away. Then if we do the multiplication, So we get 50, then we can do division, we get 10, and we can also do modulus, which gives us 0. There's even the exponent. I've never used this, but you can also do that. So those are assignment operators. Now the next batch that I'm going to show you, let's say 3, these are comparison operators, which you're going to use quite a bit. So the first one is if something is equal to, and I'll comment these a little better for the final version, but I don't want to waste too much time with comments. So let's say x, we'll say x equals, and then let's say 2, and I'm going to use the equals operator, which is double equals. Okay, remember the single equal sign is assignment. That's what I'm doing right here. I'm setting something to x. But right here, I'm evaluating an expression using the comparison operator of equals. So what that's going to give me is true. It's going to give me the result of this. It's going to put that into the variable, and then I'm console logging that. Now, if I were to change this to 4, then obviously that's going to give me false. So that's equal to. Now we also have the equal value and equal type operator, which is a triple equals. So let's say 2, and then let's do triple equals 2. Now that's going to give me true, obviously, but I just want to show you, if I were to comment this out for a second and then on the double equal change this to a string, that's going to give me true, because the double equal does not test the type. It only tests the actual value inside. All right, now if I were to uncomment this and make this to a string and save, I'm going to get false, because the triple equal not only evaluates the value, but it evaluates the type as well. So the types have to match. And in this case, this is a string, this is a number. Now, it's really preference on what you use, but what I do and what I see a lot of people do is pretty much always use the triple equals. I think that that's going to save you some headaches and save you some errors if you just always use triple equals. There are a couple situations where you might not want to. There's quite a few where you don't need to, but it's in most cases it's not going to hurt. All right, so that's just what I do. It's up to you. You'll kind of find your groove as you move along. All right, so let me just put a space here. Now we also have not equals. So I'm going to say x equals 2, and the not is represented with an exclamation. So I'm going to say not equal, but just one equal in this case. So this is basically the opposite of this, even though it only has one equal sign. So I'm going to say 2 and save that, and we get false. And the reason we get false is because 2 is equal to 2. So obviously 2 not equal to 2, that expression is going to be false. Now, same rule applies with the double equals as with this. If we were to do a string, that's still going to be false, because in this case 2 is equal to this if we're using the double equals. Now we also have the not version of this. So if I were to copy that down, and then let's just add another equals onto that. If I save that, we're going to get true. And that's because it's true that this is not equal to this when we're checking the type as well. If I remove these quotes and save that, that's going to be false, because it's false that this is not equal to 2, because they are equal. All right, now the next thing I want to show you is greater than and less than, which are pretty simple. So let's say x equals 10, let's say greater than 5, and that, of course, that gives us true. And we'll just copy this down, and let's change this one to less than, so that's going to be false. We also have greater than or equal to, and we have less than. Let's do, I'm sorry, that's less than or equal to. Then we also have greater than or equal to. So very simple. Those don't really need any explanation if you did like 3rd grade math. So that's all I want to talk about in this video. Basically, I needed you guys to know this stuff in order to understand the next video of type coercion.